So people like to use the word like energy or universe or consciousness, this mind that is behind all reality that is logical and creative and imaginative and personal. And I would say that this is the divine. This is the divine consciousness that unites us all. And so this divine consciousness is incorporeal by nature, without a body. So being that consciousness would understand all potentialities, it stands to reason that we are the physical manifestation of its desire to experience a tangible world. We are its eyes and ears and mouth and nose. And so we then have a responsibility to God, to the divine root that unites all things in creation, to do life well. And to be in alignment with that consciousness. We then need to understand what's at the root of this consciousness. Who is this consciousness that unites us? What's its desire? Well, Scripture tells us that the character attribute that maybe best describes this consciousness is the Hesed, the Hebrew word for loving kindness. And one of the most important verses in the Bible in Genesis is that states that we are the image of God. That is then our responsibility to the consciousness, is to be the image of God. If we understand that the image of God is loving kindness, we are called to be loving kindness. What a great responsibility that is. And so it's up to us to recognize that this life is not our own, and that the independence that we wish to have from God and from all else is not real. That we are united, whether we like it or not. But what we're united to is and rooted in is good, creative and imaginative and full of infinite energy. And so we can participate in that. And when we do, that is where heaven and earth align. When our alignment is such that our mind is melded with the mind of the great creator of the universe, we then become this infinite energetic being. And that is so attractive for other people to experience and remember. That's our mission. Our meaning and purpose is found in being that thing, representing the root that we're tapped into and being that fruitful vine. It's really that simple. And so when you look at Scripture, you see who did that best. Jesus is who's talked about in Scripture, this messianic figure, the physical manifestation of the fullness of God, who lived the perfect life, who was the embodiment of Hesed. If you're to say, what is the loving kindness kind of life look like? You can look to the life of Jesus. And what was that? It was a life of serving both God and man perfectly well. In fact, to his own detriment. The cross then becomes this representation of what real loving kindness is, self-sacrificial. And so our lives should start to reflect that. And when it does, we image and imitate the life of Jesus, the life of God himself. And there's great pleasure in God in knowing that that is how we're living our life, that we're imitating that in that way. That's it. So Christianity is that. It's a recognition that we're so much more than ourselves, and a mission and purpose to be loving kindness each and every day in each and every way. Super hard to do, no doubt about it. But that's the mission statement. That's the call to remember the thing that we're tapped into, connected to, and our source of life and love.